All right, welcome to the passenger side rear wheel well. Remove that wheel, inner fender and everything to get to the section of the air conditioning, which has the compressor and the two largest lines. Not only the largest diameter, but they're the longest too. It's over 12 feet going up to the condenser, and that's a number 8 sized hose and a number 10 returning from the evaporator, and that is a over 9-foot hose. So we've laid our new hoses, and be sure to make them spiral around, make a nice smooth curve. You don't want kinks. There we are. There's a little bit through, and pass it through the tunnel. In order to get to this point, we've had to crack and remove the cooling system, fuel system, ventilation system, ignition system, and all the belts and drives for it too, as well as loosen the alternator. So it's quite involved. You want to make sure you seal this once and seal it right. So we'll be using a torque wrench for all of our fittings. The Ferrari Dino air conditioning system starts with a modification to the engine with a mounting plate right here. From that, the 3 studs will hold on to our mount for the bracket, and the bracket will be attached to our compressor. And from there, we'll be able to install the belts on. So it's a 3-stage process. If you've ever wondered what the difference between a standard non-AC Dino is and a Dino with AC, it's that mounting plate, the subsequent bracket, which will fit onto it, and then the holes on the back of the compressor. Let's get it mounted up. Lift the compressor into the place, but make sure you have the bracket in the back first. Bring the back bracket around. Since we're going to have to mount the hoses, we're going to need a little bit extra flexibility. So bring the bracket around on the horizontal and make sure these caps are tight. And turn the compressor sideways and fit the bracket onto the top. And then we'll rotate it sideways up. Let me get my other right. We're sliding the bracket into place on its side as we rotate. See, there's both of our valves. As we rotate this up, we will then be able to fit the valves onto there, and then we will attach the bracket to the mounting plate. The correct fasteners for both the compressor and the bracket to the mounting plate will be 3 square-edged yellow ringed nylocks with associated washers. 3 for the bracket and 3 for the mounting plate. Let's get it installed. Tighten down all 3 mounting bolts to the bracket, the studs and the 17mm wrench that you'll need to tighten them. Okay, they're secure. I tightened them down pretty. All right, we'll check for tightness on these 3 nuts onto the studs, and the bracket is securely mounted to our compressor. Now we have our sealing caps here to prevent the oil from leaking out, and I want to tell you, because when I removed the old one, it did leak out, and I had to have a catch pan. So be ready for that if you don't have the caps on. The new lines are ready to go. We're now going to tilt this back up, pull the caps, remove the caps, unscrew them, and screw on the new roto-lock valves onto the compressor. So we'll rotate it up, slip it onto the studs, where are those guys? Back there, and attach the fittings. There we go. All right, I have the bouncy tripod out because I'm going to have to use both hands to torque, and I do want to demonstrate this. The AC fitting torquing guide is right here, and you can see our largest hose is a return to the suction from the evaporator. That's a number 10, and we want to torque that from 8 to 22 foot-pounds. And our second one that runs that over 12 feet up to the condenser is a size number 8, and its torque value is 15 to 18 foot-pounds. Then when we get the roto-lock compressors on, we want to go 20 to 40. I've selected 28 foot-pounds, and those will be the horizontal ones. So you can see we have some real space concerns to get it. Here's my torque wrench, And I normally would put the valves on the compressor. I would prefer to put the valves on compressor and then the hoses onto the valves. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to torque these because of the space concerns in here. I'm not going to be able to do that. To 22, which I have already. That's it. All right, that's 22 foot-pounds. That's got these in memory. Isn't that handy dandy? There, 18 foot-pounds. Handy dandy yellow jacket. Torque wrench. That's it. Now we're ready to pull the caps, mount the valves on them, and torque them to 28 foot-pounds. I've removed the caps from both of the rotor lock fittings. As you can see, these are brand new white. When I attach the valves and torque them, it will actually crush the Teflon seal, the white seal you can see there. So should I not be happy with this in some way, the seal was a one-shot use and I'll have to replace it. Now I have a whole bag of these in my AC kit, so it's no big with me, but if you're using this and it comes like this, you will have only one pair from the manufacturer. So let's mount these up and gently fit them on. All right, both the fittings and the lines are connected, so let's attach it to the car. All right, the compressor had to lay down. Get the valves in, then upright, and then attached to the bracket, and then the mounting plate. I've now inserted two of the proper belts. They're Continental AV 10 millimeter by 900 millimeter, and I've lined up the belts correctly, tightened them correctly, and installed the three nylocks. You can see there's one that's right there and another one right down there. Not an easy task on that bottom one. You had to use both hands. And then ratchet wrenches are very helpful. Oh yes, one important wire is the clutch wire. It's a serial connection wire of all the devices that ends up here at the electromagnetic clutch. This will also be our test position if we have any issues, because this will be the final point that electricity passes through a serial daisy chain to get here. And this will tell us if everything upstream is working electrically. So that's your pick-off point, your clutch connection to there. Compressor's tightened, new hoses are in, new valves are in. You'll notice these do not have some backseat valves, which will fit right over those after we fill it. I'm going to add that in the future too to make it look original OEM. But we are ready to go in the back of the engine compartment with new hoses, new compressor. So let's button things up, tighten the fuel system back in, install the cooling system, the oil delivery.